Welcome back. We've been considering some encounters that Jesus had with individuals in which he granted their requests based upon their faith. So far, we've considered the faith of the leper and the faith of the Roman centurion in Capernaum. I'd like to continue in the 8th chapter of Matthew, and this is going a little bit later after Jesus had ministered in Capernaum for a while. He chose to travel to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. And we'll pick up the account in verse 23. So this is Matthew 8, beginning of verse 23. Now when he, that is Jesus, got into a boat, his disciples followed him. And suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, "Lord, save us! We are perishing." But he said to them, "Why are you fearful, O you of little faith?" Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, "Who can this be, that even the winds and the waves, the sea, obey him?" Prior to this event, the disciples had witnessed Jesus healing a leper, healing a paralytic from a distance, healing numerous demon-oppressed individuals, and multiple other people who had various infirmities. But this situation, it was different. Remember that Peter and Andrew, James, John were all experienced fishermen, and they had fished this very body of water every day. They were used to the storms of the sea. They were able to navigate and to handle some rough waves. But this storm, it was different. This storm was bigger and stronger than anything that they had ever experienced. And at this very moment, they were perishing. But when all else fails, turn to Jesus. Isn't that how we do it? I can handle this. Why bother Jesus? This is just a storm. I've gone through storms before. I can handle this one too. But then before we know it, the storm is a little bit out of our control. We can't handle it anymore, and we begin to panic. We begin to worry, and all of a sudden we got to cry out, "Lord, save us! We're perishing!" It's interesting to note that when Jesus was first woken up, that before he rebuked the winds and the waves, he rebuked his disciples. He said to them, "Why are you fearful, O you of little faith?" Then he got up, he rebuked the winds and the waves, he calmed the storm. And his disciples, they marveled, they wondered. Again, this was different. They had seen Jesus reveal his power and authority over infirmities and diseases and even demons. But this was nature itself. And here's Jesus. He wasn't taken by surprise at all. He wasn't concerned. He wasn't panicked. He calmly looked at the situation about him, rebuked the winds and the waves, and the storm was calmed. As I consider this passage, again, I like to place myself into a lot of these accounts. And I wonder where I would be if I was in that boat. At what point would I have panicked? At what point would I have gone to Jesus? How would Jesus have described my faith? How would Jesus have described your faith? There's so many applications that we can draw from the event. But for today, what I really would like to encourage you in is to be encouraged that Jesus is able to calm even the roughest storm of your life. He rebuked the disciples, but he still answered their prayer. They needed to grow in their faith. But Jesus understood their growing experience. Later, Jesus would walk on water. He could have jumped out of the boat. He could have walked out of the boat, got out of the boat and said, you guys handle on your own. You wanted to wait for this long? You got it. I'll just walk to the shore. I'll wait for you there. But he didn't. Jesus understood their failures. He understood their frailty. And he calmed the storm into their life. I don't know what's going on in your life. I know there's a whole lot of storms going on in the world. But in the midst of that storm, Jesus can calm the storm about me. He brought peace in the midst of the storm. Do you have the peace of Jesus in the midst of the storms of your life? You can. I want to encourage you today to take the words of Peter. See, Peter is that guy in the boat. He got it finally. And he encouraged the church in his first epistle, at the end of his first epistle. 1 Peter 5, verse 6 and 7, we read, "Therefore humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you." Peter had finally gotten it. Jesus cares about all the storms of our life. And we can cast our cares upon him. Go to him today, casting your cares upon him, knowing that he cares for you, knowing that even in the midst of the storms of your life, he's got it under control. And he can bring calm into the midst of your life if you let him, if you desire it. Go, take some time to pray, and have a blessed day.